All right, everything has been set up. And hi, Rune. Uh, Rune says another day, another stream. If you're talking, all we hear is the music. Just saying it now. Actually, I just came in. Sorry about that. I was getting everything set up. Post had to go out everywhere. I'm a little bit. I'm not exactly late. Like I started exactly at 8 o'clock, but like I also have kind of dinner in front of me, so we're gonna see how this works. It still needs to cool off, so I am good to hang out and chill. But yes, hopefully you hear my voice now. Rune says, "Yay, hello! Just making sure." I love you so much. Thank you so much for being my warning signal, essentially. And also, I'm really glad that you can hear the music because I don't know if you were around for the tail end of the stream last time, or last night, but basically we started getting hit with copyright warnings again because I was streaming music from YouTube, like one of those lo-fi hip-hop streams. Apparently, YouTube doesn't like it when you do that. So I'm gonna have to find an alternative source, but, you know, one that isn't like one of those weird like I don't know I also don't know if you really browse libraries of free to use attribution free music, but it now and then you will find gems, but most of the time it's like, what the crap am I listening to? This is like very corporate. Like you have to expect to hear it on like somebody's presentation as they tell you about synergy and shit like that. So we're hoping. So I'm kind of like on the hunt for a new music source that isn't YouTube, that won't get us copyright strikes or copyright warnings. I haven't been struck yet, and you know, isn't weird. But for right now, this will probably be a common sound. This is Neil.fun, Ambient Chaos. It is specifically a mix of lo-fi beats and rain. We will probably like mix it up, see what happens. I know that there are other sound mixers out there specifically for writers. We might experiment a little bit with those. But other than that, you know, Rian says, oh, hopefully the hunt goes well. We know nothing about that. Totally understandable. Music is very finicky. Hello, Faded Stardust. Faded Stardust says, hey, I'm Gavin. I heard about the stream on Blue Sky. Welcome! Yes, this is welcome to Night Rights, and I guess this is a good segue for my usual spiel. I apologize to Rune, who has heard it a million times. But basically, welcome to Night Rights. It is a writing hangout that happens occasionally. We're still getting back into a regular schedule, so I can't promise exactly when, what days you can catch it on. But, you know, just keep an eye on my Blue Sky. It's usually from 8 to whenever. And I say 8 to whenever because essentially what we do here is we do word sprints. We also shoot the shit and generally hang out, talk about writing. It's a good time. You get to hear me ramble about stuff. You get to put things in chat and I will read them aloud and respond to them. You had a little bit of a sample there. But when we get to the word sprint bit, it's basically just like I'll put 20 minutes on the clock. You run through it and do whatever you feel like for 20 minutes. Usually that's writing because this is a writing stream. But it can be literally whatever you want. If you're here because you're kind of like in a writing break and you just want to have some kind of a background noise, that's totally cool. I've had a lot of people come in who are like, I just want to craft for a while. I have art that I want to draw, or I just feel like gaming and I want to get through this one stage. It's totally cool. 20 minutes to do as much productivity as possible. Then at the end of the 20 minutes, we all take a break. We share our progress, talk about it, and then talk about whatever until we're ready to go again. Other than that, the only other thing that I should introduce to the newbies here, whether that's you, Gavin, or anybody else who might be joining us right now, we have an icebreaker. So for the first half an hour, we just sort of like hang out, wait for people to come in so that we can start our sprints and everybody has a chance to like settle in, pick their projects, do whatever. So the first half an hour, like I said, is chatting. But if you're shy, totally understandable. A lot of writers are introverts, and this is probably a new chat for a lot of you. So we want to make sure that you ease into it a little bit. And one thing that you can do is answer the icebreaker of the night, or tonight's icebreaker, as I now call it in our new graphic. And it's just a writing question to help, to help you talk about yourself, talk about your process, connect with the other writers in the group. Tonight's icebreaker is pretty simple. It's how do you break through writer's block? Just any tips, tricks, how do you ease back in from whether it's like a couple months hiatus, which I say because I just came back for a couple months hiatus, or if you've had a block for ages and you feel like you haven't been creative, how do you jostle yourself back into being creative? I will answer in just a moment. Let me just catch up on chat. Gavin says, I hope you find a good music source. I too know nothing about copyright-free music sources. And also, I love word sprints. Heck yeah to word sprints. As for copyright-free music sources, yeah, they're few and far between these days. Like, I get it though. Like, every musician has a right to protect their music and protect their property. It's like, duh. But also, like, the ones that are like, here's your free stuff that you can use, it's like, it's painful to listen to, and I will not subject you to it. Like, it's objectively painful. Although Kevin MacLeod, God bless his soul, and how he's supported so many YouTubers with his vast library. If you don't know Kevin MacLeod, that's understandable. You have heard his music though, if you've been on YouTube for 5 minutes. But yeah, that was the spiel. A little bit awkward this time around, but whatever. How was everybody doing tonight? And feel free to answer the icebreaker as well. I've talked for the past 10 minutes, so I will yield the floor essentially and let you guys settle in. Since it's kind of quiet, I will just jump right back into it. Oh, here we go. Gavin says, writer's block is a toughie. I think reading can be a good way to get ideas. Also switching from typing to handwriting or doing some prompts or reworking your outline if you're an outliner. All amazing tips. Like, first off, absolutely, if you get back into reading, I 100% agree, because you're basically sampling the craft that you're getting into, right? Rin says, honestly, when we hit at writer's block, we normally do the whole intake over outtake more than anything else. Cryptic, hello Cryptic. Cryptic says, hey, how's it going? Cryptic, long time no see, even though last night was the first night I've been around for months, but good to see you again. But yeah, as I was saying, reading is a fantastic way to get back into things, because like, you're giving yourself a break still. but you're also kind of like sampling the craft, seeing what's out there, and letting your imagination work on something that's other than your own projects. Like, reading does still exercise your imagination. You're visualizing what's on the page and so forth. So, absolutely. Um, as for typing to handwriting, also yes. There's something tactile about that. That's actually the one that I swear by. Basically, my habit, as some people in the room might know, is I actually have paperback or like hardback journals and a pen case, and whenever I get super stuck on something, I take both, shove them into my purse, and go like find a coffee shop or like I hate to be cliche, but coffee shops are usually my go-to, or like a park or someplace else. I sit down. It's a change of scenery, which I also recommend, and you're just sort of like letting yourself exercise the tactile sensation of actually writing. Kind of like, it's addictive, I want to say. Like, there's something about it that kind of like jostles your mind and kind of like feels satisfying enough that you just keep on doing it. I don't know, it's like, it's easier to word spew whenever you're handwriting, is what I want to say. Um, And also, yeah, absolutely, reworking your outline. That actually reminds me of classic piece of advice that is, if you get stuck on something, chances are the problem is 6 lines behind where you are. I don't remember, I think I read it on Tumblr, like somebody said it on Tumblr, and 100% like chances then there would be like an entire list of people beneath that post who are like, I hate this so much because it's true. But it is true. Like, if you are stuck on something, a spot in your outline, you should probably go back up and see if the problem is actually further on up, and like tweak little bits that you thought were a-okay. Because that usually, yeah. Anyway, Rune also says, and then we fall into habits more than anything else. So just saying a tiny goal and aiming to hit that more than anything else. Absolutely, God, yes. Set tiny goals and reward yourself. I love it. Love that habit, Rune. Itchy, welcome. Itchy says Kobold reporting for duty. I can definitely speak. I apologize in advance for all the rambling I'm going to be doing. I am, for people who don't know, I have also invited my Final Fantasy FC/guild into the chat because they're awesome, and it's it's nice to be able to share stuff with them. So Itchy is one of them, and I will openly say that I talk a lot more in these streams than I do in chat, and I am not sorry. I also should probably warn you that I swear like a sailor in this chat, and I say this only because one of the other viewers that we had from the FC said that he was very surprised that I swear like a sailor. But yes, I swear like a sailor. Fuck, shit, ass, bitch, so on and so forth. Now that we've made sure that all of the children have left the chat, Rune says, no apologize, we love the rambles. Hell yeah. Itchy says, no worries, and Gavin says, rambling is good. Excellent. I also promise that it won't be an hour and 45 minutes of me ranting about the publishing industry and also smut books like that, like what happened last night. I know you guys like rambling, but I'm not sure you like that much rambling. Like it was an hour and 45 minutes straight. Um, yeah, if you ever want to, incidentally, if you ever want to watch past streams, my channel actually saves everything. I would not recommend it, but they're there. Some of the shit I say is very informative and funny, and some of it is informative, but also an hour and 45 minutes. Cryptic says, I apologize ahead of time if I'm not as chatty as I usually am. I'm listening on my computer, but also playing a full screen game, so I'm also in here on my phone so I can type. It's not the most efficient, lol. You just sound like every Final Fantasy player I've ever met who's not me. Like, I fully respect every other Final Fantasy player that I've met. Like, so many of them are like, yeah, I'm on my PS5 and also chatting on Discord on my phone, or yeah, I'm playing on a controller hooked up to my computer, and I'm also like on my phone for some reason, even though I have access to Discord on my computer. And here I am, it's like, I'm here on the PC playing with mouse and keyboard. Like, I cannot conceptualize playing on that game on a controller. But in any case, Cryptic, it's actually kind of funny that you mentioned this, because in my usual nightly spiel about what Night Rights is, I mentioned that the word sprints are traditionally 4 words, but you can do whatever you feel like doing. I've had people who would come in and craft. I've had people who would come in and draw. And I've had people who would come in and play video games. So case in point, everybody. Yes, I'm calling you out, Cryptic. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I love you. Itchy says lies, 2 monitors for the win. Right? Like, this is the perfect way to play, in my opinion. Like, why is everybody not playing on one screen and watching weird ass YouTube videos on the other? Be normal, guys. No, I'm kidding. Gavin says, I'm listening on my TV with the chat open in my web browser on my computer with my manuscript open next to it. Mouse plus keyboard is my jam. I'm so bad with controllers. Yeah, right? Like, how do people do this? Like, how do you not use a mouse? How do you not like the freedom that a mouse provides? I am absolutely throwing shade at like most of my FC, I suppose, but it's okay. They can't actually come in here. Except for Itchy, who understands and agrees with me, I suppose. But also, it is currently 8:22. Our first sprint will begin at 8:30. So I am kind of curious, what's everybody working on? Gavin says, I think it depends on what you're used to, what you grew up with. Yeah, probably. Like, though I kind of grew up with both. Like, there was definitely like a Super Nintendo at my house, and I had like Game Boys and the Game Boy line. But like, I spend most of my time on the computer, so yeah, that makes a lot of sense for sure. I've also heard from like the controller advocates that it's like more accurate or faster, but I don't understand. I support your decision anyway. How's that? Cryptic says, honestly, the mouse provides freedom, but a keyboard control scheme often makes my fingers cramp in a controller, and a way controller buttons do not. Okay, yeah, that makes sense, because like, I guess controllers are kind of like designed for being held, you know, like, and repeated button motions, whereas keyboards are like You're kind of not supposed to be pressing the same three or four keys, I guess. Makes sense, in other words. Also, what game are you playing? And to everybody else, yeah, absolutely. Feel free to like glop in information about your work in progress. If you're also new to it, I can't believe I've never actually added this to the spiel, but like, if you're also new to this, you will see on your screen my work in progress. Currently, it is a fantasy romance about a guy who turns into a dragon and shenanigans ensue. But, so yeah, you will kind of like, if you're watching the screen while sprints are happening or not, words will happen on this, on like 2/3 of your screen. You are welcome to kind of like comment on them if you want. I very rarely talk about what goes on that 2/3 of the screen. Weirdly enough, for some reason, despite the fact that this is a writing stream. But like, yeah, you're if you see something you like, feel free to talk about it. If not, totally okay. I will probably not talk too much about it anyway. This stream is mostly to kick my ass into actually sitting down and write. That's how these streams got founded. But only thing I ask is like unsolicited constructive criticism. I have better readers, so don't worry too much about pointing out flaws. I am currently fast drafting, which means that I am jotting down ideas as quickly as possible. It's mostly like placeholders and dialogue and just powering through the trashiest trash draft ever just so that I can get this concept on paper. So it's gonna look like shit, just as a warning. But anyway, back to the chat. Let's see. Cryptic says Morrowind. Ooh, excellent choice. I've yet to play, but excellent choice. I've heard excellent things about it. Gavin says slower on controller than on mouse plus keyboard. Cryptic says falling down the Elder Scrolls rabbit hole again, which means I may be going back to fantasy works in progress when I get writing again. I hope you do. It's been a while since you've written, and I fully support you getting back into it. Like, I do miss your characters and all your shenanigans. Gavin says, I'm also deep into Morrowind. I'm working on fanfic. Two different concepts. I'm working on fanfic. Excellent. What kind of fanfic, which fandom, and if you're comfortable telling us a little bit about it, feel free. Rune says we are going to be working on a bunch of different projects, more or less. We are trying out a writing program, Emperwrite, and just trying to hit word goals this month, over focusing on one thing. Tell me how Emperwrite is. I know that you mentioned it last night. I still haven't checked it out. I've been so busy today, and basically the end of yesterday, that I just haven't been able to peek into it. But yeah, Rune says, Gavin says, I've never heard of Emperwrite. Let us know how you like it. Seconding. I'm using campfire writing. I've also heard of that, but I have not really looked into it. It's like that collaborative storytelling program, right? Because I've heard that it's fun, and I'm curious. What program are we looking at? This is Ellipsis, so it's brand new. It is basically, I would call it a love child between Scrivener and Google Docs. It is designed for writing. But it's specifically designed for collaborative writing. So you can invite people in, they can create copies of your draft and comment on them and sort of cheer you on. I do have a couple of people who have been invited, but we've all kind of been busy, and I'm kind of thankful because the only thing that's on here right now are the outline, which is unfinished still, and a really bad prologue, which I'm going to rewrite. So, God, I hope they don't look at this so far. But it is basically just like a better Google Docs, I want to say. But you know that bar is set pretty low. Rune says, we will let you all know it is working well for us so far, and we love the developers. They are so active and have a whole Discord for it. That is excellent. Like, I have high hopes for any of the programs that have active developers. Ellipsis is pretty active on social media too, and it's like, if you have a group that actually listens to its user base, like, that's, in this day and age, that's excellent. That's very heartening. Especially after like all the shenanigans of corporate stuff, plus what happened to NaNoWriMo recently. That's fun. So yeah, absolutely, people who actually listen. Gavin says, despite how problematic JKR is, Harry Potter, I can't help still loving the story world. I can link my story on AO3 if that's allowed. People are interested. That is allowed. So feel free to link away. I have to admit, Harry Potter is not my personal cup of tea, but I do know that there might still be people who are low-key still cool with it, so. Rune says Amberite is more like Scrivener, but it has a lot of elements for tabs for something like an encyclopedia, notes, manuscript, and you can add images and links and a bunch of other stuff. Holy shit, I need to actually check this out. That sounds so cool. Like, you know me, an encyclopedia alone would float my fucking boat. So I will check that out later. Especially, you know, if it makes it easy to share and export your stuff. So that would be cool. Last one before we get before I set up the sprint, but Gavin says, ooh, cool, Campfire is great if you're into organization, as you can do character profiles, timelines, set up magic systems, and link elements together. No collab features yet, though. That is still up my alley. Like, I am a massive world builder, as Rune at least knows. It's to my detriment. That was one of the flaws of the last draft and why I kind of had to bulldoze and start over again. This is technically draft 5, as the graphic on the side of the screen says. But, like, I love adding detail to my worlds and, like, writing up these weird posts that are like, here's the magic system, here's the history of this place, here's this one concept that only exists in this world, and so on and so forth. I like going down rabbit holes and building them. So when you say to me that there is this writing thing that lets you build an encyclopedia, I'm like, As for our last bits, Gavin says Campfire also has an encyclopedia feature, and Rune says, but we love your detriment, honestly. Your world building is godly, and I am heart-handing right now, like both hands in shape of heart. Yeah, I love it. I am delighted to share world building, but like when you come up with so many ideas and you try to cram into one story, you fumble. So always know like how to rein things in. World building is so fun, it can really enrich a story. Absolutely. Anyway, I should not stall. It is 8:33 already. So we'll get the first sprint started. First sprint set up anyway. So as I said, word sprints are 20-minute periods of being as productive as you possibly can. Then we'll take a break, and we're going to do this 3 times. So 20 minutes are on the clock for this. Shake out those hands because you're going to be doing writing or button mashing in Cryptic's case. Take a deep breath. Get in the zone for writing. relaxed. We're all loose. There's some good repetitive jams on. That's definitely not going to make us irritated in an hour. Anyway, on your mark, get set. I wish you the best of luck on the first 20 minutes, my loves. And sprint. right, that is time. How did everybody do? As you can see by the little pop-up, I do love Ellipsis. It has a built-in timer, lets you know how many words you've written, and this time around for me it was just 292. Not too bad considering I'm eating dinner, and also, I don't know if y'all were watching, but like there was definitely some type and delete going on in here. For the first parts of chapters are always difficult to get into, and I'm trying a completely different angle with this one, so it's like kind of experimenting. We'll see. I do like how it's turning out already, but I won't get too deep into it just yet. I want to make sure that y'all have your time to talk about your stuff. So, it has been 20 minutes. How'd you do on the sprint? Riftic, we need to know how much progress you've made in Morrowind. And excuse me while I cheat and finish off the sentence, because you know I don't like to stop a sentence, or stop mid-sentence with these things. Rune says, just rambling to ourselves, but we got around to 300 words, so good start. Yeah, absolutely, that's definitely a good start. And honestly, like, it's the first sprint of the night, so like everybody's kind of like shaking off the, getting back into it, I suppose you would say. Like, it's kind of like pancakes. The first one is always shitty. Unless you're weird or have been pre-gaming your words this entire time. But in any case, hopefully you've made it through, like, rubber ducking it with yourself and just getting back into it. And 300 words is still absolutely excellent. You have beaten me, so like, don't assume, like, I'm gonna. There is absolutely no non-awkward way of saying this, but basically I hope that the next sprint you will like blow me out of the water. So I am fully cheering you on right now. Like 300 now and like 600 the next one. Am I right? Gavin says, yo, I got 996 words. Guess I was in the zone, LO. See? Sometimes you just get in the zone, but damn, that is actually super impressive. Like, 996 words, like, in 20 minutes. That is like, I used to do NaNoWriMo, and I would sit down for like 2 hours and get the daily word count. And it would take me at least a solid hour to get 500 words, like half of the usual 1667 was the magic number, right? It would take me like an hour to get just 500 words down. So like 900, nearly 1,000 in 20 minutes. Like, Jesus Christ, I applaud that. Rune says, 600 words next sprint, let's go. Amen. And I will do my best to break 400. There we go. I don't know, like, I'm still kind of shaking off, like, the loose... I like the metaphor that somebody gave me, wherein if you take a long time as a break and you don't do any sort of creative pursuit, whatever that is, like if you're just drawing after spending ages not drawing, if you're just writing after spending ages not writing, whatever you want to insert like into that blank, it's going to be rough getting back to the pace that you're used to and getting quality whatever out, because you are basically a pipe with stagnant water. So you have to continuously jam like, I don't know, snake down there or plunge water through, run the faucet to flush out all the shit, and then you'll be able to, like, write at a good pace. Or at least that is what I'm telling myself. I am hoping that once we get deeper into this draft, I'll be like, okay, now I feel like I can write. But, yeah, I'll aim for like 400 words next time. We'll see if I can do it. If not, no big deal. Rune, you've got your 600 word goal. Gavin, I'm kind of going to set you up with 2,000. No, I'm kidding. Just like, goddamn. Don't burn yourself out. But let's see. Gavin says, thanks, I have no idea how he's able to do that. I am still applauding you. Cryptic says, I got a couple of quests done in Morrowind. The Mages Guild seems so petty. I mean, it's the Mages Guild. Gavin says, no. There we go. Sorry if you guys had a little bit of a blip there. You guys can hear me and see me because I got this weird notification that said that OBS had just disconnected. God, I hope that we're still streaming. But yeah, that was weird. I think the internet's okay. Gavin says, you're back. Excellent, thank you. Rune says, oh, you are good for us. Excellent. Because, yeah, that was 100% weird. I don't know where that came from. Gavin says, stream's still up, just blipped for a sec. Okay. So long as it reconnected. Because I would be very sad if I had to start a new stream. But yeah. Cryptic says, listen, I'm used to Oblivion. The Mages Guild has a couple petty quests, but real quick goes to, oh no, people want to kill us. That sounds about right. But yeah, I still have yet to play any Elden Ring games, but I've heard excellent things about them and I live vicariously through people who do. And Cryptic says, and now I'm gathering flowers and sabotaging rivals. That's definitely the Elden Ring experience, for my understanding. Gavin says, I need to play Oblivion again. The Dark Brotherhood questline in that game is excellent. And Cryptic says, Oblivion, Shivering Isles DLC, my beloved. Okay. Let me look at how much Oblivion is. This is how it happens, guys. This is how it happens. Oh. Oh, I didn't realize it was that cheap. Like, 15 bucks. Not that I actually need another video game. Like, I'm already, like, obsessing over bits of Final Fantasy. Even though we're between patches now. It's like, I will get all of my things up to level 100 and then quit the game. No, I'm kidding. I promise. But, Gavin said, or Cryptic says, in my opinion, Oblivion is a better game than Skyrim, and no, I don't take criticism. That is basically like opening a door, tossing in a grenade and a hornet's nest, then slamming the door shut. I don't know, or if that makes sense. Or it's more like, that is like walking to a room and saying, here's the hottest take I can possibly have. Like, you need to put this on Reddit and just, you need to put that opinion on Reddit and see what happens. Like, create a throwaway account, go on Reddit and say, Oblivion is the better game than Skyrim. Like, I have no doubt that people agree with you, Cryptic, but I have a very good feeling that a lot of people really don't. And I would love to see what would happen if you just said that. I'm going to skip a little bit of the chat and just go straight to Cryptic's response. It's the screenshot from Tangled of Flynn Rider surrounded by swords. Exactly. Okay, going back up, Gavin says, I've heard they're actually planning an Oblivion remake. In that case, I might hold off on looking into it, although $15 is nice. Cryptic says, yes, you do, LOL, and that's in response to, I don't need another video game, and the answer is no, I do not. I still do not. I have not yet finished Sunhaven, which a friend of mine had gotten me into. And then he comes into my DMs recently, and he is like, I have gotten over my WoW addiction, and here is how, and he shows me this Minecraft RPG plugin with that is basically Minecraft or World of Warcraft in Minecraft. And I'm like, fuck you. Like, you are lucky that I am very hard that a Final Fantasy patch just dropped. But anyway, yeah, I have a list of games I should get to / get back to. And I know somebody in the FC is like, I am going to low-key buy you Baldur's Gate 3. And I'm like, please have mercy. Rune, skipping right to Rune because this is a farewell message. Rune says, okay, we have to step away for dinner, but we will be back for those 600 words. Totally okay. I am aiming to get us started on the next sprint, I think, around 9:15, and hopefully, fingers crossed, I actually make it this time. So, take your time. You'll probably end up being in the middle of the sprint when you come back, but, you know, there will be a third sprint tonight as well, so there's that. Gavin says, hotter take, Morrowind is better than Oblivion and Skyrim put together. Cryptic says, I would be flayed alive. I am going to continue encouraging chaos. You both need to get throwaway accounts and go on to R off my chest. And then see what happens. Cryptic says, come to Elder Scrolls games. We have lizards that are actually trees and cats whose forms are determined by the moon. Including, apparently, a secret third moon no one can see. It's definitely a moon and not a bug, right? Anyway. I'm also like... Gavin says, is that the moon that the sugar comes from? LOL. I can't tell if you guys are actually talking about something that's seriously in the game or if this is just some shit that you're making up. And please don't tell me it's funnier this way. But yeah, as I was about to say, I am also like checking on B-Sky just kind of like out of curiosity. And if you're listening from B-Sky and like you have your B-Sky feed open to my post and you're playing in the player, click the link. Do yourself a favor, come join us. No, I'm kidding. But hello. I am waving to all of those of you who are sitting on B-Sky. But also to the person, to the quote-unquote publishing promoter who dropped into the replies of that post. Please enjoy my blacklist. Fuck off. But like, yay. That's a thing on B-Sky, and I forgot that's a thing on B-Sky, but I don't know if it was a thing on Twitter either, like all these, I'm totally a professional book promoter, let me help you promote your book. I know that's the thing on Insta, and that's part of the reason why I do not go on Insta anymore, except to, like, totally low-key, I don't want to say stalk, it's not stalking. Keeping up with the indie band that I very, very, very like. Because that's the only place where they post. But if they were on B-Sky, I would 100% follow them and like all their posts and be weird. Not be weird, but you know, like be too shy to actually talk to them, but to lurk their posts as I usually do on fucking YouTube. Because social anxiety, I guess. But anyway, yeah. Don't be weird on people's posts. Lock account. There we go. That feels better. Cryptic says, don't get me started on the lore stuff I've never seen directly referenced in the games. Gavin says, Moon Sugar, aka Elder Scrolls drugs. This does not explain anything, I hope you realize. Cryptic says, nah, moon sugar is a real thing. That is a drug or an ingredient in a drug. I don't remember. So when you say third moon, are you talking fantasy cocaine? Cryptic says, and there's 2 moons. Okay, so you're definitely talking... So you definitely mean fantasy cocaine. Cryptic says, but according to the Khajiit, there is a third moon that no one can see. So fantasy cocaine. No, I'm kidding, I'm kidding. We have good times here, for sure. Gavin just confirms it. Okay. Man, this is, I'm going to put Oblivion on my wish list now, because now I'm very curious. And cats, the form of cats is determined by this moon sugar? Wait a minute. Actually, that kind of makes sense. Because, like, if you're taking the moon sugar, yeah. Anyway. Cryptic says, moon sugar is the cocaine, but the multiple moons are literally the moons in the sky. Okay. Okay, so there are 2 moons. That part I got. But the third moon. The theoretical third moon that might not exist, but definitely does exist according to the people who may or may not be taking the moon sugar. It is 9:13 and we are talking about fantasy drugs. This is great. I mean, if I really wanted to make sure that no minors are watching this stream, I could make an icebreaker that is basically talk about your fantasy party drugs in a future video. Anyway, I am very glad that you are having fun in Oblivion, though. I am also very glad that you are totally a-okay with going on Reddit. No, I'm kidding, don't do that. I love you too much, although I would love to see chaos. Anyway, writing stuff. 9:15, as I said, will be I promised the second sprint of the night, and second sprint we shall have. So, now that we've gotten the talk about fantasy cocaine out of our systems, hopefully, I assume. Sorry about that. I have also just finished dinner, so it's sort of like, making sure I don't die on a chickpea for you guys right now. But anyway, now that we've gotten fantasy cocaine out of our system, we are going into the next one. Hopefully we're loose. Hopefully we're ready. There are 20 minutes on the clock, so get ready. Oh, one more. Cryptic says, it is never fully out of my system. You know what? That's fair. You are allowed to have as much fantasy. You enjoy your moon sugar. Okay. Anyway, 20 minutes on the clock. Get ready, get set, and go. All right, that is sprint number 2. Shockingly, I did manage to meet my goal with 425 this time around. So, yay! But how did everybody else do? Let's see. Gavin says sprint. Cryptic says, I'm busy, get me a bowl, ma'am, why? And Gavin offered LMAO as a response. So, wild things happen during the sprint, but how are people feeling after the sprint? Cryptic says, I got the cat lady her bowl. Excellent job. You give that cat lady her bowl. Gavin says, congrats on hitting that goal. I got a more normal feeling. It's 576 words that time. That is actually good. Please do not burn yourself out. But yeah, I applaud it. That is still really good for 20 minutes. So I am applauding you right now. Gavin says, and I'm super excited for the next scene. I can definitely read. Hold on. Let's try this again. And I'm super excited for the next scene I get to write. Why do we all love torturing our characters so much? Am I right? Absolutely, am I right? Absolutely 100% in agreement with that statement. I think it's catharsis, to be honest with you. We like watching, it's catharsis, but also Schadenfreude. Fabricated Schadenfreude, because it's natural to enjoy watching things happen, but there's no guilt attached to when it happens to fictional characters. It's sort of like watching a cartoon character get hit in the groin over, like, you ever watch that one episode of The Simpsons where they're like doing the film festival, like it was that crossover with the critic that they did for some reason, and there were some really good films, but at the very end, the one that won the entire festival was the movie about a guy getting hit in the nuts with a football. It's like that. Cryptic says they have to suffer to grow, half joking. That too, true. It makes for interesting plot for sure. Gavin says, I think you're both right, LOL. But yeah, I'm kind of feeling a-okay too. I definitely like the beginning of this chapter more than the actual prologue. And shockingly, I'm kind of liking it more than the original first chapter. I don't know if anybody... I actually might have read it aloud on a very early stream, but basically, the beginning of the first chapter in the previous draft was a fight scene wherein Mick basically fought a stone dragon, and that's still gonna happen, but it's sort of like it didn't really capture Mick doing his Mick stuff. So this time around, it's sort of like let's put him in customer service mode and have him go talk to customers and have the customers get really weird. So it's fun so far, and there will still be Stone Dragon and there will still be shenanigans because we have to also introduce the part where music is tied into magic, and Mick can perform magic with his fiddle, because there needs to be actual music in the work in progress called the Nameless Song. And I have to let my fiddle kink... No, I'm kidding. I have to let my fiddler actually fiddle at least once to establish the thing that happens in the climax. So, might as well have all of the things happen at once. We're at the cusp of that bit, and I've been thinking about it all day and thinking about whether or not it's too much for a first chapter. But, you know, we're going to dive right into it and see what happens. But in the meantime, let's see. When did we actually stop that stream, or the last sprint? I guess what we can do is chat for, I think, another 10 minutes. And at 9:50, we'll start our last sprint of the night. Until then, it's just sort of like we can just chill out, relax, and see what happens. It's definitely not as chatty I'm definitely not as chatty tonight as I was yesterday, which is a good thing for sure. But Rune says, running back here just in time, it seems. Yes, welcome back. I definitely didn't piece things together so that you could be just in time for the next sprint. But yes, if I can't quite tell if you caught what I had said, but yes, welcome back. The next sprint will be happening at 9:50. So it's about 7 minutes from now, assuming that we don't get derailed by other stuff. Cryptic says, this went from pick some flowers to convince this guy to join us if he won't kill him real fucking fast. That sounds about right for a fantasy. Or a fantasy game. I feel like that's something that happens a lot in MMOs, at least. Like, you go into a new town and they're like, oh yes, go pick this herb for us. And by the way, if you come across these bandits, murder them. Rune says, oh nice, we did come back in time. And yes, absolutely. You did miss the second sprint. But by the way, I managed to get my 400 word goal for the second sprint. So I'm making no goals for the third sprint. Although it would make sense if I hit 600, which I probably will not. We'll see. But especially since we're going into a fight scene. And you know me with fight scenes. I love looking back on them and reading all the fun stuff, but in the midst I'm like, God, why did I make the fight scene so fucking complicated? Or God, why did I decide that my inspirations will be anime and Jackie Chan? But we'll see how it goes. Gavin also did like 500. Let me scroll back up. It was like 576. That was what I thought. 576. So it wasn't as insane as the near 1,000, which means that is healthy. A healthy goal. Rune says, oh, you did. Yay. Thank you. Yes, the fight scene. Let's go. And Gavin says, oh my God, I'm so slow when writing fight scenes. You get it, right? Like, it's like... There's so much that you have to describe and so much that happens at once, and it's like you just want your characters to banter or something to break up these large paragraphs of description, but you can't. And it's sort of like you're pushing through this mire of paragraph, and but Rune says, gonna get so distracted reading your words. I will, I mean, I can't guarantee whether or not we're going to actually do the detailed fight scene. I could go the lazy route and just copy pasta from the old draft, but most likely it'll be like placeholder, placeholder, placeholder. especially since I made the promise that I would be writing in a song also. That's actually going to probably be the biggest chunk of placeholder. But yeah, a lot of things are going to be happening all at once, and we'll see how it goes. Rune says, "Oh, good job, Gavin." Heck yeah. Yes. Just pace yourself, my dude. One more sprint for the night, but still, like, don't burn yourself out too much. I know that, I don't, actually, I don't know if you posted, your stuff in the chat, because, like, I've also noticed, like, YouTube's chat is kind of weird. Sometimes, I know that, last night Echo was trying to say, one of the other viewers was trying to say some stuff, and she was like, why is my stuff getting deleted? And then I look at today, I actually dropped by the channel, or my channel on YouTube, and I watched the playback. I open up the chat, and sure enough, there are lines that were not visible during the live, and yet for the chat playback, they are visible, so it's super weird. Point is, I'm not sure if you shared the link to your stuff. If you have, then I'm so sorry that YouTube is being a butt and swallowed that. Feel free to add me on BSky, and I will definitely share it. And the reason why I bring that up is I don't know what your story is actually about. But I don't know why I was actually bringing that up. Probably, like, I don't know how or what's going to happen in the next few words, or whether or not you would be, like, super sucked into them, super sucked into what you're doing to the point of blowing out your first sprints count. But, like, just pace yourself and whatnot. That's what I'm trying to say, I think. Gavin says, I love how Robert Jordan did fight scenes. The characters did what they called sword forms, and he had them all named, so it was all character used a bird on the wind, followed by parting the silk. That's really interesting. Character B, favoring his left arm, countered with lightning, laughing in the wind. Oh, interesting. You can make up what that meant in your head. Oh, I think I need to read some of his stuff to see what it looks like in full. But that does sound really interesting. It sounds very magical girl. Like, I would love to have... I actually did try having a character in the previous draft name her spells, but I don't know, it kind of looked awkward. But if everybody did it, that might be interesting. That, and I just kind of in general want to sit down and read a novel where that happens, just to see what it looks like. So it is currently 9:49, just as a heads up, so we are going into the last one in just like a couple minutes or so, or a minute or two. Gavin says Robert Jordan wrote the Wheel of Time series, long ass series, 14 books and prequel. I didn't. Okay, so I never actually read Wheel of Time. I did not realize that's what happened in it. Like, I've heard about it. I've, like, seen trailers of, I do believe that they have that TV series out, right? Yes, they have a TV series and everything. But I've never actually sat down and either read it or watched it. So I did not realize that that's how fight scenes worked. But now I'm very intrigued. Do they do it? They have to do it in the, like, they have to be shouting this shit out in the TV series, right? Like, that's how it's integrated, I would assume. But I'm very intrigued. The sword forms get named on the show, yes. I'm gonna have to, okay, yeah, 100%. I'm gonna have to read the books and then watch the series. So I will put that on my list of things to do. I've been meaning to anyway. It looks very good. At least the TV series does, but like I really need to read have context for sure. Anyway, I will set up our last. This will be our last sprint of the day. So 20 minutes is on the clock. I'll go over like next sprints and whatnot afterwards, but like Cryptic says, I want to convince myself to read The Wheel of Time, but a bad DM I had ran a campaign based on it and really pissed me off with the way he handled things, and I'm trying to break that association. Make it your own. Read it anyway. Spite him and form your own opinions. Then write fanfiction that would piss him off. Gavin says, warning, we call books 7 through 9 the slog because it's slow going. At least it's books 7 through 9, because like if it was like book 1, then it would be hell to get into. Which means that it would be even more difficult to enjoy it. But if book 1 was really good, that makes it a little bit easier, and that will make me want to actually go through the slog. Gavin says, ick, bad DMs ruining franchises is bad, right? Like, bad people ruining things in general, man. But anyway, 20 minutes is on the clock. Deep breath. Book 1 is a love letter to Lord of the Rings. So in other words, good. Excellent. I will put it on my list for sure. But yeah. Alright, here we go. 20 minutes on the clock. We're all set. Get ready. Get set. And good luck, my dudes. Go. No worries, Itchy. Tell the gang I will be on in, like, give me in half an hour to an hour. Yes, good luck with the boss fight. And that concludes the last sprint. I apparently got 313 words, which is probably a lie because I went back and I fucking added more words. How dare you, ellipsis? But how did everybody else do? I know that I missed a lot of going on in the chat. Let's see, what have I missed? Cryptic said, it sucks that association is so strong because the stuff that upset me was him telling me he didn't think some of my character reactions were in character for my character. That's weird. Gavin says, ugh, if a DM wants a lore-accurate campaign of an established book franchise, they really need to buy in from players who know those series really well. Otherwise, it's a recipe for disaster. Agreed. Cryptic says, honestly, to fully explain everything, I would need far more characters than YouTube chat gave me. But long story short, he wondered why my happy-go-lucky character didn't want to forgive literally the only person in her life to have ever betrayed her. Gavin says, sounds like a crap DM more than anything from what you've described. Cryptic says, oh, he was terrible to play MTG against, too. Why are you friends with this dude, then? Cryptic says, even better, this was in a high school D&D club, and he was the teacher chaperone of the club. Ew. Gavin says, ew, I wonder how many students he put off TTRPGs. Sad. Cryptic says, honestly, I think it was even more frustrating because everyone else seemed perfectly fine. It always kind of felt like he didn't like my character in that campaign personally or something. Like, everyone else was cracking jokes and making things up, and he'd incorporate into what was going on and stuff. But when I actually tried, it all just never mattered. I'm seconding Gavin's sorry. That happened. That does sound like a really crappy DM. Cryptic says it also kind of actually, it kind of sounds like somebody was power tripping too, not gonna lie. Cryptic says it sucks, but fortunately it never put me off D&D or even MTG. Then cat feeding happened, and then here we go. Cryptic says I cannot navigate this game to save my life. I am assuming I am going to take that as your progress in during the sprint because it would be funny to do so. Rune says, we ended up getting so distracted we're going to have to run through more sprints later tonight. That is totally a-okay. Sadly, I might have to end my progress here for tonight. I mean, I feel okay with this. Like, this is a strong beginning. I even only did a handful of placeholder, so I'm proud of myself. Like, it's starting off good, and we're even getting a little bit of banter in. There are some rough edges I need to sand down, yeah, but it's getting there. And again, it is a little bit, I feel like it feels right. So cryptic Gavin says got 439 words that time. That is also excellent. So, like, it's also probably good because it sounds like you're kind of winding down for the night, which is excellent. Also, you did fucking nearly 1,000 words in the first sprint, so you did well for all in all for what's basically a nano month. Cryptic says it is my progress. LOL, getting lost. Yes. Gavin says Morrowind has no waypoint markers. You have to use the journal and figure out how to navigate like you would IRL. That sounds like fun and not fun at the same time. Driptic says, I have a mod that adds quest markers thanks to my partner, but it can only do so much. That's fair. I don't know how I would navigate a game without a map, not gonna lie. So I'm of two minds with that. But yeah, it does sound like it's more exploratory, so there's that. Gavin says, yeah, I nearly got 2k in total, so I'm good on word count for the day, for sure. There you go. Treat yourself afterwards. I suppose also, this is a good time, and that's a good segue to talk about streams. Like, as I said last night, basically what's going on is, Cryptic says, especially considering I have a terrible sense of direction. That is fine. Remind me never to bring you to New York City. Like, I'm about to get into a rant. There's like a rant at the edge of my tongue, I guess, but it basically, they say it's a grade system here, and it is, but that doesn't help when all of the buildings prevent you from figuring out whether you're facing north, south, east, or west. And this is something that my friends who have lived here their entire lives do not understand. Like, they don't understand why I have no problem navigating any other city except New York without a map. But there you go. Anyway, point is, like, remind me never to, or remind me to not introduce you to New York City. You would not have a good time here if you don't have a good sense of direction. But right, the main thing. So a lot of you weren't around in last night's stream, so I feel okay repeating myself. But basically, what's going on is a lot happened within the past 2 months. So first and foremost, I quit one of my D&D groups. There was a lot going on. Long story short, I didn't quite feel right about a few things that were going on. And the DM was kind of like, he was doing off his own thing, basically. And there were a lot of times whenever it was like, game, like we'd only probably game like maybe once a month at most, because he would just keep on canceling, and that's fine, real life happens, but like he needed to focus on real life stuff, and that is a-okay. But also, like, on top of that, I talked to him about some other stuff, and uncomfortable stuff happened. And I won't get super duper into it because that's not relevant. The point is that I quit that, so that's no longer on the table. However, the other thing is, what's filling up my time now is basically the FC, which I put priority on because they're my friends and I enjoy doing things with them. One of them has a D&D session that's kind of semi-regular now, and right now, though, more importantly, we kind of lost members of our raid team. So we're not regularly raiding, but we want to get back into it. And the thing is, I'm not 100% sure if we have a solid schedule yet. Raiding, no, we don't, not yet. D&D, I think some things are coming into play, but the point is, I can't tell you for certain what days we'll be getting back into streaming. I am basically trying to play it by ear and seeing what the FC does. Basically, I've put myself down as having most nights free except for weekends, because I go out with friends to the city and be actually social on weekends. So whatever happens during the week, I'm cool with. And I want to be able to help them figure things out. I want to fit my schedule to them because, I have no life other than during the week I have no fucking life, essentially. It is work and stuff that happens in the evening, and then lie face down. So for now, I can't guarantee days for streams. Gavin basically hit the nail on the head with my point. With the thing that I'm taking thousands of words to get to, which is, Gavin says, I'll just keep an eye on, keep a lookout on Blue Sky for stream times. But yes, that is basically the best course of action for the time being. I can't even tell you when the next stream will be happening. Let's put it that way. Because I do believe the FC is planning on doing something tomorrow, maybe, and Friday. I'll talk to them afterwards and see what's up. If they're not doing anything, then maybe stream tomorrow. But keep an eye out on Blue Sky for stream times. If you see the new graphic pop up, that is a stream day. If you see me posting a link in Discord, that'll be a stream day. And just, eventually I want to get a regular day nailed down, at least one a week. So that we can get back into the swing of things, and so that I can hang out with you guys and write and encourage you to write and or just be in general productive. I do enjoy these streams as well. I do get a decent amount done on these streams, and it's like purposefully carving out time to write, so 100%. But that is going to be something that I'll be doing in the future, like not right now. Until then, I can at least tell you, give you an idea. Most likely, the next stream probably be, I want to say Monday or Tuesday is the next day that I will not have anything happening in the evening. So you very likely will see, the graphic pop up, but we'll see. I'll keep you updated. Cryptic says, I finally found the place I was looking for in the city. I have to figure out how to leave. That is hilarious. Like, you found it, now you can't leave. You are there forever. I'm so sorry. Yeah, so that is the long and short of it. Keep an eye on Blue Sky for the next stream time. If you're not on Blue Sky, keep an eye on Discord. If you have access to the Discord that I barely ever use, I wouldn't put up an invite, but again, it is something that I'm kind of like on the fence about retiring. The next stream, will come when it comes. We'll see what happens. But in the meantime, like, thank you all for coming in. This actually went very smoothly for first regular time back. I mean, there was yesterday, but there were shenanigans yesterday. But thank you for just like hanging out with me and encouraging and enabling these writing shenanigans and talking with me about moon candy or moon sugar apparently, and opening my mind to fantasy cocaine and whatever else we were talking about. I feel like that was the most important thing that we talked about today. It's it's been a lot of fun. I love you all. I'm going to wrap it up here unless anybody wants to like stop me and, I don't know, get me to do a rant about communism and communism in the publishing industry or like whatever. But night, Gavin. I hope you catch the next one. I will definitely keep you informed, but let me know, hit me up on Blue Sky if you want me to tag you. Take care. But yeah, actually, fuck it. Like, thank you all again, and I will see you when I see you. Take care. Get plenty of rest. Don't burn yourself out with writing. Love y'all. Cryptic says, I'll listen to a communism rant. We have gotten through an entire stream without me going on a communist rant. Let's just wrap it up before I go off on a communism rant. How's that? Good night, y'all. Take care.